The first thing you need to do is be safe. Disconnect the appliance or turn off the breaker to avoid electric shock. Today we're going to be working on a Samsung dryer. The problem that we are having with this dryer is that it's not heating. The model number it's on the display. The first thing we're going to do on this repair is make sure we get in the right amount of air coming out of the vent. We should be getting around between 15 and 30 miles per hour air. As you see, we're getting 19 coming out of the vent. Normally coming out of the dryer is gonna throw about 30, so the minimum that you can accept coming outside it's 15. We're getting 19, so that means the dryer vent is clean and we don't have to worry about that part of this repair. Now the second thing that we are gonna do is make sure that we are getting 240 volts at the outlet. Just make sure you got 240 volts on the dryer outlet. The reason why I suggest this is because in many repairs I tested and I only getting 120 volts and it's not enough to heat up the heat element. This is a demonstration of how you check voltage on the outlet. Just make sure you're getting 240 volts out of the angle terminals and 120 with the other terminal, which is neutral, and that should be fine. The next thing that we're gonna do is make sure the terminals are fine on the terminal block, because many times people try to do this themselves and leave these terminals loose, or it created a shortage because they are not being adjusted and tied correctly. Now that part was fine. We're just gonna put everything back like it was, and now we're gonna go ahead and get inside the dryer to find out why this dryer is not heating at all. We're gonna disconnect the dryer. I'm gonna try to pull it out, and we're gonna get a putty knife to be able to release the top panel. Now as you see, if you stick the putty knife right there, you will release the two clamps that are holding the top cover. If you push it in, it will release it. Now we're gonna disconnect the door switch harness, and this is a little tricky because if you not careful, you can lose or break a piece from the door switch. Now at this point I can just lift the top cover panel and lean it on the wall, but I done that in the past and you can damage the door switch. Now I'm gonna try to show you guys how to disconnect this without breaking the door switch. Let's go ahead and remove all the screws that are holding the front panel. Release this wire from the straps and try to get it loose. Still don't lean the top cover into the wall, because if you do that, you're going to put tension on the wire and also the wire harness. Now, if you see on the video, right next to the switch is like a clamp. If you force that clamp, you can lose that clamp, or it can damage the door switch lock mechanism. So just try to keep the door leaning on you while you disconnect this. I'm just gonna attach it again just to show you guys the way I did it. Remember, I'm trying to do this by myself, so I'm doing the best I can. And that's the way you do it. You hold the switch with one hand and you disconnect it with the other one. Now that you already got it loose and disconnected, you can go ahead and lift the top cover and remove the front panel to the side, like so. I always put something on the floor to work more comfortable. We're gonna remove the humidity sensor harness. And now we're gonna remove the 4 screws that are holding this frame, which this frame is where the drum is sitting into roller wheels. Once you get all 4 screws and this screw on the squirrel cage, you just lift it and wiggle it out. Now we're gonna remove the drum. The end of this video, when I'm assembling everything back, you're gonna see how to remove this drum, because I put the camera inside to show you guys how to put it back in place. So the same way you put it back in place is the same way you will remove, like I just did. The next thing is we're gonna go ahead and start checking to see why it's not working, to find out if it's the heat element, to find out if it's one of the thermostats. And the best way to do this is try to remove one wire from the terminal and just check for continuity. Now, right now we're just checking to see if we got continuity, and we are now checking to see if we put one pin from the tester and the other one into the metal. It doesn't beep, that means it's not grounded. Now we're gonna check the cutoff thermostat, and that is our problem. I'm not getting any beep, I'm not getting any ohms, I'm not getting any continuity. So that is our problem. Now we also want to check our high limit thermostat. This is our high limit thermostat. And the high limit thermostat tested is fine, but not exactly. If this high limit thermostat is not working correctly, it can make the cutoff thermostat to go bad. So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the terminals. While you have it off, just make sure the drum wheel is fine. Now I'm gonna give you a little demonstration of how to test the high limit thermostat and cutoff thermostat. Now I got my tester set on continuity with beep sound, and as you see, I got positive continuity. I have nothing on the thermostat. However, like I was telling you guys, if this is not cutting off at 260 degrees, it can make your thermostat to go bad. So once one of these goes bad, you have to replace both. And that is exactly what we are gonna do right now. Just remove the screws and it will come right off. It is the brand new parts. Try to get the information on camera, but my flashlight is too bright, so I apologize for that. But I'm gonna put the description and part numbers for this repair on the description of this video. Now we're gonna begin installing the new high limit thermostat. Make sure you adjust the screws correct. Try to just put one and don't tighten it into the other one is on, because otherwise it's gonna give you a hard time. Now we're gonna go ahead and connect our wires into the thermostats. Go ahead and put my tester away, so we're not gonna need it anymore. Go ahead and put the old thermostats in one of the bags just to get it out of the way. And now we're gonna go ahead and install the drum back in place. This is the part where I told you guys that you can see how to remove it and how to put the drum back in place. This is the view inside the dryer. And this is how you install the belt back in the motor. Just try to turn it, make sure it's installed correctly before you putting everything back together. Now we're gonna go ahead and install this part, which is the frame that has two rollers. Make sure the rollers are fine, they're not getting stuck or anything while you have it apart. And remember, this drum have to seat in those wheels. Sometimes it's a gap like that. What you have to do, put your hand underneath the drum, lift it into it goes in place. Now we're gonna connect our humidity sensor harness, and we're gonna go ahead and reinstall our 5 screws that holds the frame. Sometimes the piece of plastic will come off. If it comes off, just put it back in place, because that's one of the parts that holds the front panel. Now we're gonna begin to install the front panel. And we're gonna go ahead and lean this in our shoulder again, because we don't want this wire to have tension. I completely forgot about the tension part, so I have to remove the wire again from where I were. And the same way you remove it, try to hold the switch with one hand to be able to detach the wire with the other hand. That is, the clamp can fly away, and you don't want that to happen. The reason why I mention this a lot is because I've been in a couple jobs where the clamps just break, or the lock mechanism on the door switch breaks, and we have to replace the door switch, or we have to come up with some kind of homemade repair to make the switch to stay in place. Now I'm just attaching the cable on the clamp straps that is holding it in place, and we're gonna begin to install the screws on top of the front cover, which is 3 screws, and 3 screws on the front. Just install the 3 screws that goes on the front. These screws, you will see they're different than the other ones because it has a permanent washer on the screws, so you're not gonna get confused. Just remember, the 3 screws that goes on the front has a washer on it. And this job is pretty much done. If this video helped you in any way, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for future videos. Thanks for watching.